Hi, my name is Matt Johnson, and this is my 5th video in the how-to series on creating your own elements for an outdoor Christmas light show. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a Pixel Snowflake. Now, I've never actually done this myself, so you're going to learn right alongside me. I'm going to use a lot of the same methods that I used in creating the Pixel Wreath, which was my 4th video. And the first step in doing that is drawing the pattern that I'm going to use for the jig. I know that making a jig for the elements does take a little bit of time, but I believe it's worth it for several reasons. The first is that it makes your elements look a lot more professional when you've used a jig. Secondly, it gives consistency when you make several of these items in your display. And third, it helps the actual production of the element go faster when you have a jig. So for the first step, I'm going to go ahead and sketch out how I want the snowflake to look, and then we'll go ahead and route it out. Now that I've finished drawing out the pattern for my snowflake on the MDF, I'm going to drill holes at each of the intersections where the wireframes come together. This will prevent the wood from getting burned once I tack weld the wireframes together. So this is what it looks like once you've completed routing the groove over your pattern for the snowflake. So I used a 1/8 inch router bit, and the groove is deep enough so that the wireframe will sit nicely inside it. So the next step I'm going to do now is to actually take the wire and set it into the grooves so it holds it in place while I tack weld it in place. I drilled these holes at some of the major intersections so that the heat from the welder won't burn the wood. And hopefully it'll allow the jig to last long enough to make 6 of these snowflakes. The wire that I used comes in a bundle of 50. It's $17 at Home Depot. I'll put the information in the video at the bottom so you can see what to order or what to buy. Each of the wire frames is about an 1/8 inch wide. It fits nicely into the groove, as you can see. It works really well. It's what I've used for all my elements. If you've watched the videos on the Pixel trees, I used it on the Pixel trees. I've used it on the Pixel Wreaths. So I'm going to go ahead and reposition the camera so you can see me placing the wireframe, and we'll get started. So I finished cutting and inserting all of the lengths of wireframe rod into the jig, and you can see I've inserted them each into the groove. It ended up taking a lot longer than I expected, so for the next one I'm probably going to try to figure out a way to either pre-cut them to each of the required sizes or do something just to make it go a little bit faster, because I have to build multiples of these. But now that all of the rods are cut and set into the jig, I will go ahead and begin the process of tack welding them together. So once I've completed welding together the wireframes for the snowflake, I pulled it out of the jig and I cleaned it up a little bit. I added a few more pieces just to strengthen where I felt it was a little weak. I went ahead and primed it and gave it a coat of paint just to protect it from rusting. So the next step now is to put the pixels on, which I'm not quite sure the best way to do this yet, because I have to take into consideration how difficult it'll be to separate the different segments inside the software and what kind of effects that I'm going to do on each of the, whatever these would be called, the little branches of the snowflake. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start installing the pixels now, and we'll continue once that process is going.